want to welcome everybody to Temple Ben Torah. My name is Rabbi Mimi Nickner. I'm the rabbi here, and it is our honor to host this event. I want to say that I think this is both a powerful and beautiful thing that we're doing, and a risky thing that we're doing. I want to acknowledge issues that we're discussing, and the book that we're discussing are, for most of us, not abstract issues. These issues affect us personally. These issues are affecting people we love, a place that we love. And of course we're discussing these issues not in a time of calm. We're discussing these issues in a time of incredible violence and bloodshed and immense uncertainty and fear. And so I'm not the easiest thing to be doing in the world. And it's, it's certainly been my experience as a rabbi that the kind of disagreement that we're seeing on the issues have become incredibly difficult to engage, and this just within the Jewish community alone. So to be having these conversations as an interfaith group, sort of all the more so. But I think for us, for both of us, it feels deeply important that we figure out how to create spaces where the humanity of all people are honored, and where we figure out how to have space in our hearts for everybody's humanity and stories and perspectives, which is not easy to do in the world right now, but is deeply needed, and is not the only thing that's needed to move forward, but is a key piece. And so I'm really glad that everybody's here today to be part of that work. And I want to sort of bless us this afternoon as we hear from each other, that we can really find the space in our hearts to hear different perspectives from our own, and that we find the ability to listen with resilience and to listen with openness, knowing that everybody here is cherishing one another's humanity.
I'm passionate about building bridges. I'm a peacemaker, and space for healing and space for change. A lot of sad memories for me, because that was 20 years ago. And at that time, I don't see anymore. And I just read yesterday that the UN aid organizations have put out this statement that it is the entire Palestinian population in northern Gaza is at imminent risk of dying due to violence and
Every house tells a story. In Ramla, in Israel, there's a house with two tales, one Jewish, one Arab. In 1967, a Palestinian man cautioned
between Israelis and Palestinians, and really between them.
Yes and no. I mean, at times she would tell me, you know what, I'm not comfortable with the word friendship, be like it or not.
I love my country, and you love your country. And I love your country too, and it is the same country. And I have nowhere else to go, and you have nowhere else to go. So we are here. We dream the other way. And our enemy is the only partner.
The door again, but now I know the history, and I know something about what makes this guy tick and what this family has.
find a way to think that one is better than the other. We're all the same. We're all the same. The Emerson Theater, he said, there's no good person and bad person. There's no generous person and hateful person. There is no stingy or anything like that. There are circumstances that bring certain aspect out of people. We're all generous when we feel happy. If we stop the fear, we will all be very loving and very generous. So, the question now comes, why am I here today? There's a war in Gaza. No, a book. Why am I driving all the way from Newton to here to tell you this? Because the most important thing I've discovered, no word peace. Peace with the Arabs and peace with the Palestinians has never been mentioned. It's not in the Declaration of Independence of Israel. There is no word peace with the Arabs. And then, not in nation state of 2000. The law, right now, the law of the land in Israel, as of 2018, that if you're not Jewish, you do not have rights in that country. And that's why Druze and so many Palestinian Israelis are a system two-rank system, basically. And finally, I'm going to end on this note. I'm Sufi, which is a practice. So, no one is right, no one is wrong, but we need to figure out the facts, and we need to move forward. We are one tribe. Thank you.
Amen.
A moment. I'm just processing. And I want to, we have more folks who are, I'm sorry, I'm really powerful. And we're going to bring some more voices into the room. I want to invite Father Carl Chudy to share a few remarks. And just thinking about the time, maybe a few minutes each.
Muslim neighbors. And I have never been to Palestine, but I have heard many of the stories, both Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic, Anglican, Lutheran, Syrian Orthodox, Armenian Orthodox, Coptic Orthodox, Maronites, from our Maronite friends, Ethiopian Orthodox, and Baptist evangelical groups as well. Very varied group, small, of course, in population compared. I share a story with you that shows what it means to be a Palestinian in our land. My grandparents used to live in Jaffa. They grew up there before 1948, living worse for my grandfather, being kicked out of his own house twice. Later time when I visited my grandparents in Jordan, my grandma showed the keys that her mom had kept for generations. I know that the tree from which I came is strong and resilient. I am nourished by the love of my ancestors. I can bear with others in love because they do. So just to say, for those of us who are Christian, we stand with all of you together.
Thank you, Father Carl. So now I'd like to invite Rabbi Mimi Meichner for reflection. Thank you again for providing the space for healing and grief.
Of course. Been talking about this afternoon, and I thought I would also share a little bit about my family, how I got here, which I think my grandfather used to say our story is the Jewish story, and so I want to share that a little bit with you and how it brought me to where I am. So, like many, there was just this sense from her, but echoed, I think, in so many of the lives of the people who raised me and who I knew, that this was the option. This was the option. And I remember hearing stories of my grandfather after surviving the war in Siberia and going back into Poland, so just knew it wasn't an option to stay. And so he ended up in Canada, as I said. My mother's side went to Argentina, Brazil, and Chile. And they lived there and got involved in what's called a labor Zionist youth movement. They were part of Hashomer, what the Jewish community calls the Yom Kippur War. My grandfather's brother was in the army, and he was killed in the war. And this was a moment, this was a turning point moment for my family, where kind of two things happened. One is they said, we can't stay here. This is not a safe place for our children, and they left. But another thing that they learned was this way of being is untenable. So as much as I was both raised in a family that was deeply connected to Israel, a deeply Zionist family, I was also raised in how to have a different way. And so those have always been the values that I've been raised with. And I spent my own time, I talked a little bit about this on Rosh Hashanah this year, I spent my own time living in Jerusalem, and for the first time in my life met Palestinians. I spent time in the West Bank, and you spoke a little that says, it's me or you. You know, we can't be pitted against each other. Speak for the Jewish community, this has engendered in us a tremendous amount of fear. Our people are deeply afraid, and I want to say that. I want people to.
I want to do the same stuff. Thank you. So now, I wish we had more time, and this really,
For Israelis, Israeli Arabs they call us, which is, to me, is really kind of, if we haven't existed before Israel was created, and as if we have no connection to the rest of the Palestinian society. So we're no different from those who live in Jaffa, in Haifa, in Jerusalem, in Gaza, in Nablus, in Safed, or anywhere else. So my experience with this book and Al-Nakba really goes back to, because on the one hand we are called Israeli Arabs, but we're not really treated equally as Israelis, even back then. Just another historical fact that once Israel was created in 1948, the Palestinian community inside Israel that was supposed to be citizens of the country were under military rule. And that lasted from 48 to 66. Meaning, if anybody wanted to leave the village to go outside to the city, they needed a permit from the governor, the military governor, or any ideas of belonging to that community, having aspirations of having connection to other people of Palestinian descent outside was kind of, and I still find a bit of optimism here and there. And some days I kind of lose faith in humanity for how we, as a human being, could be silent, to speak out against systems of oppression. We need to be able to be courageous enough, and that happens quite a bit. All right, I need to wrap up, I guess. And I just want to say, when the Netanyahu's moved to Israel, they were given that house. Maybe at some point Netanyahu can write a story